Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. So with flagship phones getting more and more expensive every generation, I thought let's take a look at what Samsung has to offer in the mid-range segment. Well, enter the Galaxy M51. What's up everybody, Tech Guy Charlie here and welcome to my review of the Samsung Galaxy M51. So, the Galaxy M51 is a Snapdragon 730G powered smartphone. Yeah, finally a Snapdragon powered Samsung sold outside of the USA. Anyways, it's got a quad camera setup, a fingerprint scanner which is side mounted and embedded into the power button, and a Full HD Plus Super AMOLED display. Cool, right? The version that I've got has 8GB of RAM and 128 gigs of storage, out of which 105 gigs is available to the user. But that is not why I got the M51. Get this, this phone has a monster 7000 mAh battery, and that is 2500 mAh more than what you get on the Note 20 Ultra, which is the Samsung flagship phone. Crazy, right? And fruit company Apple, please take note, Samsung is also including a super fast 25-watt charger in the box, which is the same charger that comes with the Note 20 Ultra. Oh, and did I mention the phone also has a headphone jack? And the best part is this phone costs only $325 or about 25,000 rupees, and that is about 1/4 of the price of the Note 20 Ultra. Anyways, let's dive in and check out the phone in a little bit more detail. Alright, let's begin. As always, I will start off with the design. So the M51, being a budget smartphone, has a plastic frame and glossy plastic back which is a fingerprint magnet. You will find yourself wiping the phone's back on your clothes quite frequently, and this is one of the rare occasions that I would recommend you to get a case because A, you will get your fingerprints all over the back of the phone in no time, and B, there isn't any scratch protection in the back, so a case is definitely recommended. And on the front of the phone we have 6.7-inch Super AMOLED Plus display, which is thankfully protected by Gorilla Glass 3. On the right side we have the volume rocker and the power button, which also has the fingerprint scanner embedded into it. The bottom part has the USB Type-C port, speaker, and the 3.5mm headphone jack, which is honestly a dying breed, and I was really happy to see this on the M51. And other than the plastic back, the phone feels solid to hold, it makes no weird creaking noises when it's squeezed, and it also has a fair bit of heft to it. It weighs around 213 grams, and that weight is most likely due to the massive 7000 mAh battery. Now coming to the screen, the M51 has a 6.7-inch Full HD Plus Super AMOLED display, and this being an OLED screen means that you get infinite contrast, which makes watching movies with dark scenes a treat. Plus the screen also has excellent viewing angles and excellent color reproduction, something I would expect from a Samsung made OLED screen. And I like the fact that the bezels are thin even on this mid-range phone, which honestly makes it look like a higher end device. And also there is that punch hole camera, just like it is on a lot of Samsung models, and it feels like the punch hole is a little bit bigger than it is on the Note 20 Ultra, but it's not that intrusive. The screen also gets very bright and the sunlight visibility is awesome. You will be able to see everything on the screen even in direct sunlight, no problem. And the screen also gets fairly dim, which is great for nighttime usage. So here is something really strange. I was able to play back a 4K HDR video on the M51. Now, the M51 is not advertised as an HDR capable phone, but still, it was able to play back HDR 10 plus video, and the quality also looks fairly good. After all, it is an HDR video. I'm not sure what's going on here, if the phone is converting the HDR video to SDR and then playing it back, but yeah, I was able to play back 4K HDR video in the built-in gallery, no problem. By the way, this video was shot on the Note 20 Ultra. But you won't be able to play back HDR videos on Netflix or on Prime Video. Now let's talk about the cameras. The M51 has a quad camera setup, and let me give you a tour of which camera does what. Okay, from the top, we have the 5 megapixel depth sensing camera. This is not accessible to the user. The middle one is the main 64 megapixel camera. Unfortunately, no optical image stabilization on this, but the phone does have super steady mode, which I will show you in just a bit. The bottom one is the 12 megapixel ultra wide angle camera. And finally, onto the right of the ultra wide angle lens, this is the 5 megapixel macro camera. And the quality is superb. I really don't have any complaints when it comes to the main camera. Daytime shots are crisp with good color saturation and good HDR performance. Both the main and the ultra wide angle camera perform great, as you can tell from these sample photos that I've shot. And all of these photos that you are seeing are completely unedited, so no post-processing done. These are straight from the phone's memory card. Oh, and an important side note, the phone will always downsample the photo from 64 megapixel to 12 megapixel, which gives you a much higher quality image. But if you want, you can always take photos at 64 megapixel by tapping over here and selecting the 64 megapixel option. And it turns out daytime shots look pretty good with the 64 megapixel option selected, but I'd rather keep the phone at 12 megapixel because then I can select the different aspect ratio, and I think 12 megapixels is more than enough. That's what I have selected on my Note 20 Ultra. Even on my 4K TV, 12 megapixels covers the entire screen. Plus you get a higher quality image due to pixel binning. Now to activate the macro camera, there is a separate camera mode called macro, and this switches on the macro camera. Now you will need to hold the phone 3 to 5 centimeters away from the subject to get the best image quality, and here are a couple of macro shots that I've taken. So as you guys can see, the macro camera does bring out a fair bit of details in the photos. But I think it's more of a novelty feature. I don't see myself using the macro camera quite often. But still, I'm quite happy with the performance of the macro camera, and it is a nice addition to the phone. Although a telephoto camera would have been nice, but I think I'm just nitpicking at this point. For taking low light shots, the phone comes with a dedicated night mode. And I am clicking a picture in almost complete darkness. And after pressing the shutter button, you will have to wait for about 5 seconds, wait for the phone to do its thing, and here is the final result. Now looking at this, I would say that the low light picture quality is okay considering the asking price of this phone and all the other features that Samsung is offering. Now if you want better quality low light shots, then you might want to use a tripod stand and try out the Pro mode. So in the Pro mode, you can set the ISO, shutter speed and the focus manually. So check these photos out. These are taken using the Pro mode and a tripod stand, and the maximum exposure is 10 seconds on these with the ISO set to 50. I would say these kind of photos are quite impressive for a budget phone. These low light photos shot with the Pro mode are so good that I told my friend these are shot on the Note 20 Ultra and he believed it. So if you want the ultimate quality low light shots, use the Pro mode. The M51 also records videos at 4K 30 FPS and the quality is quite decent, as you can see. I feel that the autofocus is a bit slow, but other than that I don't have any complaints. The video quality is quite good. Although I would recommend sticking to 1080p as the videos are smaller in size, and unless you have a 4K TV or a monitor, recording in 4K is quite pointless, especially for sharing videos over WhatsApp and social media like Instagram. And these are all shot in the auto mode, so there is no Pro video on this phone, and I am pretty satisfied with the video quality. And here's the same scene with the ultra wide angle lens. The ultra wide angle camera can also record in 4K 30 FPS. Although I think that the video coming out of the ultra wide angle camera seems like it is of slightly higher quality. I'm not sure, you guys be the judge. Now this phone does not have optical image stabilization, but Samsung has included a feature called Super Steady, which uses the ultra wide camera and it applies a strong electronic image stabilization. So this first clip has been recorded with the standard video stabilization, and actually the video turned out better than I expected. It's pretty stable. But once I turn on Super Steady, you'll notice that the video is even more stable. So check this out. But there are some limitations, like the video quality is limited to 1080p, and because it is using the ultra wide angle camera, the quality is not as good as the 64 megapixel main camera. So yeah, that's a trade-off. So I would rather stick to the normal video mode than Super Steady. But still, it's a nice feature to have. Now coming to the front facing camera, the M51 has a 32 megapixel sensor. Also there is that punch hole cutout for the front facing camera, and unfortunately the front facing camera does not have autofocus, so please keep that in mind. But it does record videos at 4K. So if I go to settings, scroll down, you'll see front video size UHD 3840 into 2160, so that is nice. And also that white tint you see is because of the glare from the overhead video light. So coming to the quality, the front facing camera does take good quality photos. So let me take a selfie. Right, so I have taken a photo, so let's review it. And as I zoom in, you guys can see the individual strands of my hair. So yeah, the front facing camera does take pretty good quality photos. I don't see anything wrong with this. And daytime shots are actually pretty nice. So this is a photo that I took in bright sunlight. As you can see, the camera does take fairly good quality shots. I can zoom in all the way and there are quite a bit of details in the photo. And once again, the front facing camera is downsampling the photo to 12 megapixels, so you won't get that full 32 megapixel photo. But if you want, you can take full 32 megapixel photo by tapping over here and then selecting the 32 megapixel option. But I really don't recommend that because that will degrade the quality. And coming to the low light shots, this is a photo that I took in low light. But yeah, overall quality is quite good, and again, for the asking price of this phone, I would say that the front facing camera does perform quite well. What's up everybody, how's it going? So you might want to know how is the video quality like on the M51's front facing camera. Well, I'm recording this video using the M51's front facing camera, and I think the video quality is quite fantastic. The skin tones look good. I don't look washed out or anything, even though I have my video lights turned on. And I'm recording this video in 4K, so there are a lot of details in the video. Although I do think that the red kind of looks like pink on the screen, although that might be my glasses. Sorry about the glasses, I'm wearing my glasses because I've got eye bags here. Haven't had good sleep lately. But anyways, quite satisfied with the front facing camera's video quality, and I've set the phone on a tripod so it's kind of stable. But yeah, overall I would say that the video quality of the front facing camera on the M51 is actually quite nice. By the way, the front facing camera does not have autofocus. So if I put my hand like this, the phone will not try to readjust the autofocus. So that might be a good or a bad thing. Good thing because then the phone is not constantly readjusting the focus. So this is the kind of video quality you can expect from the front facing camera of the M51. I'm recording in 4K plus low light. I would say that the video quality is quite good. Thumbs up from my side. The M51 also comes with a dedicated portrait mode which lets you take photos with blurred backgrounds. Plus, you can also add some effects like have the background in black and white. So this mode is called live focus. So if we go to more, tap on live focus, and this is the camera mode that will let you blur the background or add a different effect. Let's pop open the front facing camera. So as you guys can see, the background is blurred. Now you can change the background effect by tapping over there. So you have a bunch of effects. This is the blur effect. This is the spin effect. This is the zoom effect. You can see that over there. And then my favorite, color point. The M51 also has super slow motion video and the quality is quite good. Although please do keep in mind you do need a lot of light if you are recording super slow motion videos. That's why go outside and record in direct sun, or if you are recording indoors, get yourself flicker free LED lights. Otherwise the video is going to have flicker and it will turn out dark. Overall, I'd say I am quite pleased with the performance of the camera on the M51. I really love the inclusion of the macro camera. I think it's a nice add-on. So yes, thumbs up from my side. Coming to the software features and performance, out of the box the M51 is running Android 10 with One UI 2.1 core. This is paired with a Snapdragon 730G processor And the one I have got has 8GB of RAM, but you also get this phone in 6GB version. But I'd rather pick up the 8GB one because that's more future proof. And lastly, you have 128 gigs of storage. And the phone does perform quite well. Even when you have multiple apps open, the phone remains quite responsive. And there is this common myth about Samsung phones that they slow down and they start to lag once you open up a lot of applications despite the phone having a lot of RAM. Well, that is not true anymore. These new Samsung phones with One UI are pretty well optimized. As you can see from this video, I am multitasking and the phone is working perfectly fine. And I did not feel any slowdowns or lag while I was using the multi-window feature, which is very impressive for a budget smartphone. Now, if you don't like speed tests like these, please feel free to unsubscribe, but don't leave a hateful comment or else I will hide you from the channel because I don't tolerate any sort of hateful comments or negativity here. As you can see from this comparison, the M51 keeps up quite nicely with the Note 20 Ultra in day-to-day tasks like launching popular apps like Instagram, WhatsApp, Snapchat, camera, gallery, and this just shows you how good the Snapdragon 730G chip really is. Yes, I agree with you that the Note 20 Ultra is a much superior phone, but I wanted to demonstrate the proof of concept here, that the mid-range phones are getting really good, especially when it comes to performance, and the M51 is the perfect example of this. Now, usually I don't like speed tests like these. I stopped making these kind of videos, but I really wanted to show you how good these mid-range phones are getting. I am super impressed by the Snapdragon 730G's performance and the optimizations Samsung has done on the M51. And yes, you will notice a difference while playing high-end games on both of these phones, but for day-to-day tasks it does not really matter. Now, I'm not a mobile gamer, but I did try out Call of Duty and it does run fine on the phone. I have maxed out all the settings and while I was playing the game, there was no stuttering or any sort of lag. The gaming experience was smooth. And the phone also has something called Game Booster, which allows you to launch applications while you are gaming. So that's a nice addition. You can quickly text your friend and go back to gaming. You can even launch YouTube and it will launch in a little window without interrupting your game. And I'm not gonna test out any other game because I am not a mobile gamer. I've got a PC to play games. My phone is mostly for business and communication purposes. The M51 has a single speaker at the bottom. The speaker does get fairly loud, but I would put the quality in average category. I feel that the higher frequencies are a bit lacking. Also, when you crank up the volume to 100%, the sound does degrade a little bit. So yeah, the speaker does get fairly loud, but higher frequencies are a little bit lacking. So let's compare it to the Note 10 Plus. It is stupid to compare because this is a dual stereo speaker phone. Anyways, so I think if you don't compare this speaker to any other phone, it's good enough. Samsung could have done better, especially at this price point. However, if you plug in the headphones, then the phone does sound pretty good. And we do have Dolby. So if you go to sounds and vibrations, go to sound quality and effect, you do have Dolby Atmos, which will enhance the sound quality even further. Then you also have the equalizer. And there are many reviewers on Amazon who say that the download speeds are slow, so I decided to test this out myself. My carrier is Airtel and I get full signal strength at my home, and as you can see, the download speeds on the M51 are actually quite good. I got a final download speed result of 28.1 megabits per second, which is pretty good even for playing back 4K videos. The Note 20 Ultra does have a slightly faster download speed on the same network, On the Note 20 Ultra, I got 38 megabits per second. I'm guessing that the M51 does not support carrier aggregation, that's why you get slightly lower download speeds. Alright, so now the part for which you guys have been waiting for. Let's talk about the battery life. So I have over 12 hours of screen on time on this phone, and the phone gave me about 3 days of battery backup with normal usage, with Wi-Fi and mobile data turned on all the time. Now before I show you my screen on time and the battery usage, I have already uninstalled all the extra bloatware that was on this phone. So if you are not getting good battery backup, first off, you will need to give your phone about 3 days for everything to settle down. And secondly, uninstall the apps that you are not using, especially the bloatware. And after that, you will get excellent battery backup on the M51. Anyway, let me show you my usage. So drop down the notification panel, go to settings, let's go to device care, battery, and battery usage. So I unplugged my phone on 22nd of October at around 4 AM, and also we will subtract the 27 minutes because I was using the phone prior to unplugging it. So 4 hours of screen on time on 22nd, 4 hour 28 minutes on 23rd, 4 hour 19 minutes on 24th of October, and on 25th 44 minutes of screen on time. So that is over 13 hours of screen on time with a single charge on the M51, and we still have 28% charge remaining. Now I want to be completely transparent and honest on my channel, so take a look at that little bump. That's when I plugged the phone into the PC, so I had to transfer some files from the phone to the computer, and sometimes I have to transfer files from the computer to the phone, so that's when I have to plug the phone into the USB. So this is when the phone gained around 2 to 3% charge when it was plugged into the USB. So that's why you see that little bump over there. Also plugged in the phone over here, the phone gained around 1% charge. So on 23rd, I had to plug my phone into the PC here, 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 and here. And finally on 22nd, I did plug my phone in over here and here. So maybe the actual battery percentage is around 23% because the phone did gain a little bit of charge, but I would say that the charge gained is quite negligible and it comes under normal use because obviously sometimes you have to plug your phone into the PC and then it will start charging. And I have been using my normal apps, Snapchat, camera, WhatsApp, Call of Duty, yes, even played games, Instagram, YouTube, so all the normal day-to-day apps that you would use. And for 23rd, 40 minutes of Snapchat, 1 hour of Netflix, Instagram, camera, and finally on 24th, 33 minutes of Instagram, 46 minutes Netflix, and so on so forth. So yes, the battery backup on the M51 is very impressive, and if you really want a phone with excellent battery backup, I would suggest you that go ahead and buy the M51. You will not be disappointed with the battery. The charging speeds are also good. I was able to go from 26% to 90% in 1 hour and 12 minutes. That seems a lot, but you have to keep in mind we are charging a huge 7000 mAh battery and not some tiny 4000 mAh unit. So even with a super fast charger, charging will take some time. Also, this phone has reverse charging. If you connect another phone using the Type-C to Type-C cable, the M51 will charge up the other device. This is a really cool feature, but unfortunately the charging rate is too slow and I'd rather not use it. But hey, if your friend is low on charge, you can share some charge with them and get their phone up and running if there is no charger in sight. Also, one very important thing to note, this phone is running the core version of One UI, which is a slightly cut down version of One UI found on Samsung flagship phones. So there are a couple of Samsung only features which have been stripped out, most notably edge lighting and edge panel. Secondly, there is no Samsung Pay, which is surprising because this phone does have NFC. And if you go to connections, you will find NFC and payment, under which tap to pay option is there. And this might come as a shock to you, there is also no secure folder on this phone. This is such a basic feature that Samsung should have included this, and I know for a fact that many people are going to avoid this phone just because there is no secure folder on this. What are you doing, Samsung? And I guarantee you that the M51 does support all these features. Samsung has just disabled them because they want you to pick a phone from the Samsung's A series lineup. But all said and done, these are not a deal breaker for me. I think for the asking price, this is honestly a great mid-range phone. I don't see any other phone with 7000 mAh battery and such good performance and cameras, especially at this price point. So let's quickly recap. The M51 has a great camera. Both the front and the rear cameras are amazing, especially for the price. The Snapdragon 730G's performance is outstanding. Samsung has optimized this phone really well. You saw how the M51 was keeping up with the Samsung flagship, and no LCD can beat the gorgeous Super AMOLED display on this phone. And lastly, the huge 7000 mAh battery is amazing, and the phone will last 2.5 days to 3 days with normal use. Now that is something hard to beat. Now of course, no phone is perfect, and this one does have its shortcomings. I've already talked about them, but to be honest, for me, I don't think they are much of a deal breaker anyways. So I would say that the M51 is an awesome phone from Samsung, especially considering the price. So yeah guys, thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed, do make sure to hit the like button and subscribe to me on YouTube and follow me on my social media accounts. I have put all the links in the video description. And do stay tuned for more videos on the M51. I will be uploading a couple of more videos. Make sure that you are subscribed for more content. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video.